It's 7 p.m. and this is the Caucus meeting held at Twinsburg Government Center. The meeting is held hybrid with council in person and public participation via Zoom. Shannon, would you please call the roll?
Ms. McFerrin?
Here.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Here.
Do we have any public participation?
There is no presentations or items for discussion either. And the only public participation is we had Rob Benjamin.
For this
He
meeting?
signed up. He signed up
Oh.
for all three, so.
Oh, he did?
Mhm.
Rob, you there? There you are.
I'm here.
Okay. It's your turn.
I think we presented in the public hearing on both rezonings, and I don't think we have anything to add at this point, unless you have questions.
Anybody have any
None
questions?
at this time, thank you. No, we
Nope.
don't, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rob, are you going to want to speak at the regular council meeting or?
Not unless there's questions. Unless you have questions, that's probably the only way.
No, I think we're good.
Excuse me, Rob, the only thing I might suggest is that if you could give a brief description of where these two properties are located. I know the one did not have a street address with the county, so we did have some questions that came in on that earlier.
Well, on ordinance 103-2020, that land is on the south side of East Aurora Road, Route 82, at Chamberlain, directly across from Whispering Woods, which we just finished developing with Ryan Homes, and then the other piece, Ravenna Road, is right where kind of 82 takes the turn coming from Aurora into Twinsburg.
By Taco Tuesday.
At the corner there, right when you make the turn at the light across from the, what is that, Taco Tuesday?
Yep.
Taco Tuesday, but
Taco
that is,
Tuesday. That's tonight.
that's tonight. You know, I'll go.
So hurry up, we're hungry.
So that's where, it's directly across the street from that, and that land backs up to where the Kent State Regional Campus is as well.
Got it.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Walker?
Yes. I have a question. What are you going to do with the wetlands?
Well, I'm working with our wetland consultant, on some plans for mitigation. We're looking at the different banks around the area, playing with the site plan and figuring out what would be best if we could enhance the wetlands on site and do some work on site, as well as mitigate some of the wetlands off site.
Okay, so you're not going to move it or disturb it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, some of it we might, and that's why we would go to the mitigation bank for the credits. But, there's only so much you can do. You can do up to a ½ acre for a nationwide permit, which is probably the fastest permit you can get. Once you get into an individual permit over an acre, or actually over a ½ acre, that's a longer period of time. So we just have to, we have the Army Corps that's going to come out and take a brief look at it with us, and then we can kind of plan from there.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so we went through presentations, items for discussion, and audience participation. Correct. Pending legislation. So ordinance 103-2020 and 104-2020, resolutions 5-2021 and 06-2021 are pertaining to the rezoning of these two properties. Is there any further discussion on them?
If I could, Mrs. McFerrin, I just wanted to point out to council, Mrs. McFerrin and I had some discussion earlier. We originally had these drafted as emergencies, even though they've been read on 3 separate occasions. we are asking that they will not be passed. There's no need for them to be passed as an emergency, so we're going to take that off. It still allows us plenty of time to make sure these are on are proposed to be on the May ballot, so we have 90 days. We get them to the Board of Elections in time. So the version that you'll be signing, I believe that you have in front of you, Mrs. McFerrin, has emergency removed, so just in case council's confused on that later on.
So that's just, Dave, that's resolution 5 and 6.
I'm sorry, it'd be 03 and 103 and 104. The two ordinances for the rezoning.
Okay. Are 5 and 6, the resolutions 5 and 6 still on emergency?
Yes. Because you can put it on the ballot
Yes,
on
the
an
ballot,
emergency.
that's the ballot language. They have to be
Okay.
down there by next week, so
Okay.
yes. Just 103 and 104 is off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then ordinance 04-2021 pertains to the tax levy for fire and police, which is on its third and final reading. Is there any discussion on this?
Nope, not here.
I'm sorry, Mr. McFerrin, again, the only thing I would add to this is that when we originally drafted it, we had indicated that the city would send the resolution that you passed 2 weeks ago down to the county auditor for a certification. We did that, and we did receive certification back. I just want to let you know, we received that back within the 10 days. So the city is in possession of the certification from the county auditor on that resolution of necessity.
Thank you.
Great, okay.
Ordinance 07-2021 is in regards to our sign ordinance, and Mr. Mashels was going to comment on that.
Just to indicate that you guys, the council had received a draft of this back in December. We worked through some other minor clerical errors and formatting, but this is the first reading on the new draft of the sign ordinance. I would just say, I'm not going to get too deep in the woods on it today in case there's questions down the road, but other than to indicate that political signs, which always seem to be the driving force on this, is a small part of it. We address political signs in section 1173-31 and essentially just place political signs under temporary signs, which brings us current with the law from the standpoint that it's content neutral sign ordinance, meaning it doesn't matter what your sign says on it, it's going to be treated either as a temporary sign or a permanent sign. But as you can see from the sign ordinance, it's much, much more than just political signs. It's dealing with every nature of sign in the city, from the address you might have in front of your street all the way up to billboards. So as we go through this over the next 3 meetings, if there's any questions, please feel free to ask.
Mr. Maestros, I've had a couple of questions about just kind of why the sign ordinance in general is, 30-plus pages long. Is it just, as you were saying, that is literally trying to address every single type of signage that we have in the city of Twinsburg and the illegalese, for lack of a better term, that goes along with it? Is that a fair?
It
gross
is,
oversimplification?
and not only that, it's also the approval process, whether it's a building department approval or whether it's a sign that goes to the ARB for approval. The BZA, if there's an appeal, depending on what it is, you get into some scientific and engineering design standards on these signs. I mean, it's much more complicated than it used to be, so yes.
Okay, thank you.
It took 5 years to add electronic signs to be allowed as well. On the last major overhaul of this.
Ordinance 08-2021 allows the city flexibility to compensate employees who assume department head or senior administrative roles on a limited basis. The mayor was going to comment on this, too.
We have Mr. Brown out there, I believe, who has stuck around for this. I know he's down in his office. If we can bring him up, Mark. You're exactly right, Mrs. McFerrin, but Michael Brown will speak on this, but that's exactly why we did it.
Perfect. Hi there.
Hi, Michael.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone this evening?
Good.
Good. This ordinance is basically, it helps us because there are times when, as you may be fully aware, where administration does not have the capability or ability to immediately interview and replace a department head as quickly as we possibly would like to. And so this allows us to also take that time to rethink through some departments and what that looks like in case we need to do any kind of restructuring, but it also allows us to place someone in this temporary role for a period of time. And as the ordinance says, will not exceed 6 months, but could be extended of another 6 months, and allow that person to be paid to do the job while we go through the motion of thinking about restructuring or what the department looks like, or even posting for the position to bring in the most qualified person for that job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone have any questions? Discussion?
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to miscellaneous. Does anyone have any miscellaneous? Oh. What did I miss?
Black History
Oh,
Month.
09. 09/2021. Okay, who wants to discuss that one? Oh, sorry, Ms. Wagner.
And then Scott.
I forgot to put that on my sheet.
I talked to the mayor about this resolution while it was in the makings, and Shannon, and I thank both of them for supporting this. And I do believe that the city of Twinsburg, this is the first resolution that they have made honoring Black History in the month of February in the city of Twinsburg.
Thank you. Any discussion? Now we'll move on to miscellaneous. Sorry, Mrs. Walker. Anyone have anything to discuss? I think Mr. Barr. Mr. Bellin?
Yeah, I don't want to steal Greg's thunder. I know he's been in communication with Chris Campbell. It sounds like I'll let him discuss that. But for several years, we have been trying to get a crosswalk, flashing yellow light at the intersection of Neely Lane and Liberty Road over by the ball fields. And we have a safety committee meeting scheduled for, let's see, when is it? I'm sorry. March 9th. I would hope that I could expect some answer definitively on when that light may be installed. That is all. Mr. Brown, if you have something to add, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so just to add on to that, I, like you, Mr. Barr, I've had several residents over the years come to me and specifically, even though this is not in my ward, specifically asking about the safety on Liberty Road there, near the parks, near Neely Lane. This has been going on at least 3 years, I think, that we've been talking about this. So I've had some conversations with Ms. Moore and Mr. Campbell, and matter of fact, he sent me an email today. He's got some project costs, which I believe was what we were waiting for from Ohio Edison in order to drop the power there. And at the end of his email, he said, if the project is a go, we can schedule it for this year. I responded to him. I'm not sure what he needs. So I guess, Mayor, I would ask you if there's
It's a go.
Okay.
It's a go and will be installed this year.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have had the conversations, and I know we kind of went back and forth onto what it was going to be like. We have a couple others in the city, so we're trying to make sure they're going to be consistent, so it will happen this spring.
Thank you, sir. I
All right.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Then I'm going to adjourn our caucus meeting at 7:14. Thank you.
So what do you want to talk about?